it would have worked, but it doesn't work for us.
Right. I'm curious to see what your angle would be.
It would be just to have you speak, and that would take care of it for all of us.
Hey, good morning.
You're
Welcome to
gonna
the
give Jordan
Stokastic.
a heart attack behind the glass, fella.
.com NFL First Look Strategy Show. Happy to have you here. As always, we love doing this every Tuesday, heading into every week. Kind of your cursory foundational look at every single slate. And this one, I was doing this last night, going over the run sheet, Ben, kind of like just my normal prep. My normal prep, I do it on Monday night during the game. Actually, it's kind of a cool process because I wouldn't be working at 10:30 at night on a Tuesday, but on Monday, what else do I have? I'm sitting there watching the game anyway, and I'm going over this and I go, there it feels like on a lot of these slates, there's maybe 3 or 4 stacks. It doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to play out. Like the Brock Purdy stacks definitely didn't play out as planned last week, but it usually feels like there's maybe, especially on these shorter slates, 10 games, there's like 3 or 4 stacks that you go, man, those really look good and jump off the page. I looked at this from top to bottom, just going over quarterbacks. There wasn't a single spot where I'm like, wow, that's the chalkiest spot of the week. That's the second, that's the third, that's the fourth. I actually came into this thinking, I'm not even sure right now with the lack of injury news we have, how this slate's even going to break down from an ownership perspective.
I love slates like that. It's a lot of unknowns, a lot of wrinkles, and yeah, even just looking at when I dove into my prep, I was just struck by the flat nature of pricing, particularly with quarterbacks. Like there are no pay up options. It's just a very steady, incremental drop, and that's going to flatten ownership. That's going to make it very unique when we build today.
Happy to have you guys with us as always. If you don't mind, be so kind, take a single second and help us feed that algorithm. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ben will tell you every time. It's free to do so.
Bro.
That was our life hack, right? Oh, just tell people it's free to subscribe.
I don't know why. I mean, I'll tell people I do my video every day on OddsShopper. I put free in the title. People click on it.
Which is insane because it's YouTube content.
It's YouTube because it's always free, but people.
But it works. Anyway, we'd love to have you as a subscriber here. Kind of join the family, 100,000 and growing. And more importantly than anything else, if you're watching or listening after the fact, leave a comment down below. I mean this when I say we thoroughly enjoy reading and responding to these. Usually you guys get creative in the comment section. And if you ever want to listen in podcast form, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever it is, even those archaic podcast platforms that you want to check out, they're there. Ones that we didn't even know exist anymore, but we have 3 people who still listen there. They exist. Anyway, you mentioned something that I'm going to hold off for a second and then dive into it, quarterbacks. But your quick thoughts, do we have a legitimate Goblin of the week that jumps off the page at you?
No, I mean, it wasn't, the thing about Goblins, and we're going to run through this real quick. To me, it has to be like the difference between expectations and what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be a dumpster. Like Carolina could never be a Goblin because they just suck. Correct. There's nothing.
That's why Dennis Allen was never a Goblin, even when he got fired, because he was bad, but he wasn't making egregious decisions. He was just overall bad.
Exactly. So you need to make egregious decisions. There hasn't been a ton of those. I'm going to do this just ceremonially. I'm going to just get in front of it. I'm going to go with Doug Peterson because this is the last time he's going to be a Goblin because he's going to get fired. The Jaguars quit. The Jaguars are a disgrace. The Jaguars should have been better, and they're not. And so it's an easy one, but everything Jaguars related, this is a ceremonial. You're done. I'm interested to see if they just clean house or if they save anybody.
So am I. That's a good one. It's Goblin of the year for Peterson at this point.
I'm sorry, but if they don't fire him, then the owner will become the front runner for Goblin of the year just by not firing him.
Wow, we'd have a Goblin of the year 2025 sponsored by a team owner.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be serious with this team.
I think Jerry Jones would actually be more inclined to win that. Like he should have
He's
shorter
another
odds.
one.
He's terrible. Bug Boy, what's up? Bug Boy said Davis Allen. Yeah, but it wasn't like Davis Allen he didn't even get targeted.
Parkinson catching a touchdown sums up just everything. Everything about that.
The fact that I only lost $200, mind you, I actually had a small profit on the main slate. My dumbass aped into the afternoon slate because I thought I was getting crushed.
The afternoon slate will get you.
Yeah, I ended up losing on the afternoon slate, but I actually had a mildly profitable. I hate when that happens. I hate it. But and somebody had tweeted at us, can we make Taysom Hill Goblin of the Week on principle? I get it. That was insane. But the Goblin of the Week for me is evident. I'm surprised you didn't go there.
What, Denver?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What did you say?
I said I thought the coach speak from Sean Payton is wearing me thin.
That's a good one, but you can't because they crushed Atlanta.
It's fine, but you just don't need. There's no reason to say these things. It's just.
I agree.
Stupid.
I had the right read on Estime, and I only had like 5%. I had the wrong read on Denver as a team. They came in there and crushed them. That was really impressive. Also, my Bo Nix Offensive Rookie of the Year ticket, which was dead, Ben, is now super. I only made 2 futures like awards / milestone plays this year, and they were both totally dead 3 weeks ago. It was Bo Nix Offensive Rookie of the Year and Ladd McConkey, rookie receiving yards leader. The only 2 ahead of him right now are Brian Thomas, who has no quarterback, and Malik Neighbors, who also has no quarterback. I'm live to win that Ladd McConkey.
Well, we've joined forces because I've been pretty adamant that Washington is good and ahead of schedule, but this isn't a runaway.
You were all over this, and people in the comments continued to rail on you for this as well.
Yeah, and so if they continue to struggle and Denver continues to climb, recency bias is a real thing, and those Jaden Daniels hero plays are getting further and further away from people's minds.
And also, Bo Nix has actually been good.
Oh no, he's again. If Bo Nix keeps progressing like he is, he's going to be the single greatest sports player within 2 years, because he was just objectively bad in college, and then he became good, and then he became great in college. I don't really understand it.
He's going to end up being the best quarterback of this class, and everyone's going to go, how did we miss it? That's what's
it's going to be Drake May, but he's going to be good too.
You think it's going to be May?
Yeah, I do.
Well, both of them are good either way. Goblin of the Week is the New York Jets, man. There's just no doubt about it. It's the New York Jets. Undisputed Goblin of the Week, Goblin of the Year. The Jets are the Goblin of the Year. They fire their coach. They've since gone 1-5 or 1-6 or whatever it may be. Since then, they are the Goblin of the year. They had a late game lead against the Colts, must-win game. They lost to Anthony Richardson. It's the Jets, hands down, dude. It's the Jets.
I'm not going to push back. The Jets are just a clown show. That's it. The Jets they're a joke, and I'm not saying that I knew they were going to be bad. I actually thought they might be pretty good, but there was a lot of crazy takes. I'll just say that. In hindsight, there was a lot of crazy takes with the Jets this year.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson comes out looking pretty good in all this, no joke.
Yeah, right?
Like, honestly, how bad is he? Because what did he do that was so much worse?
He's still bad, but I think the argument is that Rodgers is completely done.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly looks it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Joke.
Like, imagine if they went out and got Kirk Cousins.
I don't know. I there's a part of me that thinks that the Jets, it doesn't really matter what you put back there.
It's just the Jets.
Yeah, there's just like something not working.
Fair enough. I can understand that. Hey, next week we will review our tiers. Next week, that is week 12.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do that for the Thanksgiving first look show.
Sure. And we'll do that. And we're going to change Goblin to Turkey of the Week. And
oh, I like that.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that.
Jordan, you're going to have to make a graphic for us for sure.
Yeah.
Pull up the Millie Maker winner, and then we will start on quarterbacks and get this show on the road. We have the post-contest Sims review that we always use. Ben, it helps us evaluate our lineups. It has given us incredible insight every week. If you are a Sims user, use this every week. If you've struggled with the Sims, if you've struggled because your lineups aren't, the Sims have been good to me this year and to a lot of us. So, and I don't say that for any other reason to say you might just be making too many adjustments. If you make too many adjustments, you're overriding what the Sims is giving you. And if you're changing projections, doing massive boosts everywhere, capping everybody, it's one of those spots where you want to be selective about how you do that. And one of the ways is to evaluate how each and every slate goes. That's why we do it. We did it. We spent a whole show on it on the podcast exclusive last year. I would love to still do it if we had time, but we don't, where we would just evaluate all of the lineups and what has worked and what hasn't worked. The Millie Maker winning lineup from this week, Ben, unsurprisingly, and this is Giant Squid, also a very good player. Jared Goff, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, St. Brown went insane. We had the wrong read there, but the read was just who knows who's going to do it. It turns out it was everybody. Jamison Williams, Juwan Jennings, Taysom Hill, AJ Barner. So double tight end one. It just happened to be Hill, and the Bears defense. How about that?
Yeah, keep in mind, this is the 5-5-5 Millie, just so people know. But yeah, a very normal, I mean, just the Lions thing was kind of weird, but that wasn't crazy. Like, I saw some crazy Lions teams that were like, Goff +6. That's just stupid. This is again, a really sharp player building a really normal lineup. The Barner and Walker, I think, was an interesting little wrinkle, but yeah, this is just, again, the Lions set it up, and then you needed Taysom Hill, which was frustrating because I played him last week and he had a 95-yard touchdown called back.
Interesting wrinkle, but also didn't matter with Barner because he was so cheap that it didn't make a difference.
No, you absolutely not.
The winner in the big Millie was actually an Audric Estime lineup. Did you see that?
I believe it was Circling the Drain, who I've talked to a little bit. Good guy. Shout out. And no, I didn't notice that. That's outrageous.
Is that what that screen name is? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it. Goff, Estime, Breece Hall. Wow. St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne.
That was frustrating.
That was insane. Taysom Hill was just necessary. Devon Achane and Dolphins. So,
yep.
Not even crazy
though.
No, double stack Lions, Dolphins defense, Achane, good play. No one was super popular, but the only one that you look at like, whoa, was the Kendrick Bourne. Aside from that, good lineup. Ready to talk quarterbacks here or jump into week 12?
Yeah, let's do it. We had just shout out Richard in chat said that's me in 10th. Close, man. That's very cool though.
Awesome. Beautiful. Congrats, man. Very close, but still a nice win.
Yeah, but that sucks.
It's never sweet when you're that close to first, but always a good win. All right, let's get into quarterbacks here. Jaden Daniels is the first guy I want to talk to you about because you've been saying for a while that like he can't just keep getting away with what he's been doing. Early in the season, it was the rushing upside, but also wild efficiency. Like he was 21 for 23 against Cincinnati, completed 91% of passes, 26 for 30, completed 87% of passes, 23 for 29 against the Giants. You get my point, right? You have since seen that number drop off dramatically against Chicago, against Pittsburgh, against Philly. It was 69%, but essentially everything was dink and dunk. He averaged 6 yards per attempt. He's $7K, which is the cheapest we've seen him in a little while. But at the same time, I would just rather go to Brian Robinson in this game.
I'm with you. This is part of the knock on Jalen Daniels is his talent in the sense that they don't need him to be Superman in a game at home against Dallas. They need him to not lose the game, and he seems more than content to not do that. That's not good for 7K. Yeah, no, it would be my first instinct here. It's not that you can't play him. He's Jaden Daniels, but I'm really, really not interested in him. I think they just salt the game away and win the game, which is the most important thing.
That's the way I see it too. I'll tell you what, they're 10-point favorites, and I'm almost tempted to bet Washington here.
Dallas is on the Jacksonville plan of just quitting.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's clearly a lame duck.
Oh
There's
no,
no way he's coming back.
He's beyond fired.
Yep. Jerry's not going to fire him midseason. At least that's what he's saying. But that doesn't make a difference. And then they just lost 3 offensive linemen yesterday.
Yeah, Zach Martin got hurt. Multiple guys got hurt.
Zach Martin got hurt. Tyler Guyton got hurt. Who was the other one that got hurt? Tyler Smith got hurt. 3 starters. What's the point of rushing those guys back? 2 ankle injuries and a shoulder injury. And the moment they went down, I think Rush got sacked 3 times in a row. It's bad. Give me Brian Robinson. I don't love Jaden Daniels here. Maybe if he's super unowned, Ben, but I still would rather go elsewhere. What about Pat? You know, I don't like betting big favorites every week, but this is one of those weeks I think I'm kind of leaning into it with some of these spots. I know the Panthers are coming off of a bye, but talk to me. How do they move the football? Number one, you can't run on the Chiefs. And I know Jonathan Brooks is coming back. That doesn't move the needle. Chuba's been good, but you have not been able to run on the Chiefs. If it's up to Bryce Young to move the football downfield through the air, I don't see how they do it. And the Chiefs offense has sputtered. They've struggled. I don't like betting Mahomes. By the way, good call on the Bills last week. I don't like betting Mahomes as a big favorite, but I may be willing to make an exception to the rule this week.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. It's really good optics. It's really hard to quantify a lot of these things, but the Chiefs should be angry. The Chiefs should be motivated. The Chiefs should be focused. I actually want Carolina in the best optimized position because I'd like them to hang in the game a little bit, and at home with some rest can't hurt. That's fine, but I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to Jordan Love. San Francisco's defense is just simply not the unit that I thought they would be. Clearly, they can't stop teams when it matters. Green Bay back at home, weather pending, but Jordan Love has massive upside. And yes, the stack is a nightmare with him, but at 6,700, I'm okay taking a little Packers exposure here.
34 degrees, yeah. How would you? Yeah, that's not that bad. It's not going to be windy. If it's 34 degrees with 20-mile-per-hour winds, that's a little different.
Yeah.
How do you do it then?
So that is going to be a problem. How do you do it? I understand that. But what is working in the favor now is that for the most part, Green Bay has been intact health-wise, and everybody's price is starting to regress because none of them have a great target share. And that makes the dice rolls more and more reasonable. So I still think you're probably just going to have to say, okay, I'm going to have to live with Reed, maybe a Watson, and just take your shot with it and hope that you get more volume. I think you will get more volume than last week, but to me, Jordan Love, the prices are now more reasonable on Green Bay across the board.
I'll go Patrick Mahomes.
That's fine.
I think this could be one of those efficiency games where they can gut him on the ground. They can do it through the air. You know, you'd love to have the type of coach in a spot like this, such as Dan Campbell, where it's the fourth quarter and they don't care and they're still running trick plays at the goal line, Ben. But that isn't the case with Reed. This could be a run it up type spot. I'm willing to play that. Mahomes is 6,800. Carolina, you know what factors in the most for me? By the way, Pacheco's expected back, so I don't know what that backfield's going to look like, which sucks. Means I probably just fade that backfield if it's Pacheco coming back from like an 8-week absence and Kareem Hunt in there. But I think knowing that you have Kelsey and DeAndre Hopkins, there's no pass rush for Carolina. Mahomes is going to have time to throw in this game. And if that's the case, I think you could see a big bounce back from Travis Kelsey, from DeAndre Hopkins. Kelsey, here's another thing. Kelsey has fallen below 6K again after that last game. DeAndre Hopkins is 5,400. Like, if you decided that you wanted to stack Kelsey, Hopkins, and Mahomes, and then let's just say you went down to the basement with defense and went, say, I don't know, Chicago against Minnesota at 2,500, which I think is fine. You still have 6K remaining for your remaining 5 spots.
Yeah. Again, that's going to be the type of week that it is. And it's funny, like pay up, mid-range, low tier, they're going to be very, like, it's not going to be distinct. just because of the price range.
Yeah, pretty
Like
much.
my mid range is like $700 less than my expensive quarterback.
Yeah, I actually at quarterback just sectioned it off from like 7K down to 6,500,
That's
really.
what I mean. That's
Because you're
five
right.
guys and $500.
It's exactly what it is. In the mid range though, look, I'm not in love with Stroud right now. I know they're just letting Mixon do everything, and maybe Stroud explodes fine, but I still think he's probably a little bit overpriced with the way that he's played. Brock Purdy, viable here. I expect a bit of a bounce back. This could turn into a shootout. There's two spots here in the 6K range that like 6 to 6,500 that stand out to me. One of them is Bo Nix against the Raiders, and the other is Baker if Mike Evans is back, because the New York Giants are a bad football team. Baker and the Bucks are coming off of a bye, and he's been so good. Even without Godwin and Evans, even with a really tough schedule, he has kept this team competitive every single game. I'm going to go Bo Nix here, but I like Baker as well.
I'm going Bo Nix. I went Bo Nix last week, and Bo Nix is just awesome.
He killed.
He can do everything right now. 4 touchdowns passing. The guy's got rushing upside. The price is right. Vegas is just a disgrace. Can't stand that team. Yeah, Bo Nix would be the answer. The mega mind genius play is Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that people are going to go to him. And he quietly, in Arizona, quietly, he's got a lot going on. You can kind of look at his game log and get kind of a good indication. He's got some monster games, and then he has some games where you're just like, what the hell happened? They didn't need him. He did nothing. That's just kind of going to be what you're going to get. But Bo Nix is the prudent choice. Kyler's the more aggressive one.
I think Kyler's very firmly in play. Now, do you see where I'm going when I say that this is like a pick your poison type of spot at quarterback?
Yeah, again, I just think it's that kind of, and when we get to the last spot, these guys are they're only a couple $100 cheaper than the guys we just mentioned.
Okay, so I'm gonna name 4 of them in this range.
Yep.
And see where you're going. I would assume that we're on similar pages here.
Yeah.
Tua against New England, not my favorite, but he's in the conversation.
Yep.
Geno against Arizona.
Yep.
Richardson against Detroit.
No.
What'd you say?
I said
I'm throwing him in the conversation.
Sure.
And then Drake May against Miami.
I had 3 of those. I had Caleb as my 4th.
Okay, I can understand that. He's dirt cheap.
Yeah, he's dirt cheap. Minnesota's defense is obviously good, but he's at home. Whatever. I don't want to do that because I don't need to, because I can just go get Geno or Tua or Drake May, who I all think are in really good spots. The volume that Geno Smith has, though, is hard to ignore. Every week.
Every week the volume is up there. Yeah, he also has some rushing upside. Like he had a game-winning rushing touchdown against San Francisco on Sunday. I got to tell you though, Richardson's kind of like Kyler. Like he's not nearly as polished as Kyler. But what I'm saying is the range of outcomes for Richardson is crazy.
I agree with that. Oh man, the range of outcomes is crazy, but the
floor is really low.
It's so bad. I mean, when you look at it, you're just like, okay, he certainly could get there, but at the same time, the guy's got. I mean, I'd set his passing touchdowns probably at 0.5.
Yeah, like he could legitimately have a 9 completion game.
Yeah, and if he doesn't score on the ground, you have no chance.
But I'm still throwing him in the mix just in case, because if this game somehow turns into a shootout, which I don't think is crazy, then by default he might get there.
I also will say
the total's been 50.5.
Well, that's because Detroit scores and you know Detroit quietly doing everything they need. They're also quietly losing key defenders in every game.
I know.
And it hasn't caught up with them yet, but at some point it's going to. It's not their fault, obviously, but like that guy broke a forearm last week. Obviously, Hutch is gone. You can't just replace them forever.
Who was it? Anzalone that
Yeah,
broke the
Anzalone
forearm?
or whatever his name is. And he'll be
Yeah.
back, but he's not going to be back for a couple months.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, they went out and grabbed Zadarius Smith, which was significant after losing Aiden Hutchinson. Okay, let me ask you something. If you were to bet this game, Colts are getting 8 points at home, where would you go?
Oh, the Colts, definitely.
Me too.
If I had to bet this game, I got to put it in context. The number one bet for this game for me would be Colts money line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even think I'm going to bet that. I just think that when you look at this, I don't see a lot of value in a team that just surgically murdered the Jaguars coming in on the road. If anything, Detroit will be overinflated. They might just be that good, and the Colts might not be any good. But I would assume that teaser and money line pieces for Detroit will be really popular, and it could push that price up quite a bit.
That's a great point. I already bet the Colts at +8.
Yeah,
I think it's just a prudent play. You know, I get hammered every time I do my video over on Odd Shopper, the picks for every game, saying this guy's like, when will he learn not to bet against Detroit? It's like, I bet Detroit is an 11-point favorite against Tennessee. I bet them as a 13-point favorite against Jacksonville. I said it should be. I said it to you. It's like,
yeah,
this should
I
be
bet them
20
on Sunday too.
Yeah, you
Yep.
did too. I bet against them against Houston because I think that Houston had been. It's an ebb and flow of football. Like the game is ebbs and flows. You know, Houston loses, they look bad, and everyone says they're terrible now. And then what happens, Ben? They get undervalued in the market, and then other teams get overvalued, and it ebbs and flows. It goes back and forth. Do I think the Lions should win this game? Yeah, obviously. But getting a home dog with actually a great run blocking unit, good pass blocking, and a good defense, I like it. The only downside here is that Richardson could lose the game on his own.
That's for me. Again, we can move on, but for me, that's why I kind of like the money line a little better because I just feel like if it goes bad, it's going to go pretty bad. And if it goes good, I'm getting obviously really, really, really good plus money.
Right. Like if Richardson's surgical, because he could be that or he could be dead.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. 8 points is not going to help me.
Yeah, I hear you. Like you'd never, the worst spot you could ever tease up is Colts +8.
Yeah. No, I won't be doing that. This is this is the type of game. If you told me you wanted to alt line either team, I'd be like, I like that. Like I could see betting.
But you're saying alt line the Colts down.
Like I would consider betting the Colts like -6.5. I also think you consider betting the Lions -20.5. It's that type of game.
Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with the Chiefs. If you wanted to alt the Chiefs to like 19.5.
I'm not halting the Panthers though.
What?
I'm not halting the Panthers.
I'm saying the
though.
Chiefs specifically.
Yeah.
Because
I see that
could just be one of those games where they go nuts. Anyway, give me in the low tier right now. This is the toughest one for me. Let me get shit, man. Gino.
I'll take Drake May then.
Okay. You like Drake against the Dolphins here?
I just like Drake May. I think we don't know. I always like stuff where the answer is we don't know. He might just be amazing. He also might just not be anything special. I'll bet on it as the price starts to normalize.
Let's talk running backs. Hey, by the way, we talk a lot of betting on this show because why not? But betting's a huge part of our life. It's a huge part of what we do. And unlike DFS, it's a consistent way to grind out profits, which is super valuable. If you guys haven't tried out the Portfolio EV tool yet, right? Even if you're in Pick'em site, dude, Josh went on the first look show for the deeper dive on Sunday, like the first one on Sunday, build out a prize picks card for NFL. Jordan was telling me this morning, using the Odd Shopper Pick'em lineup builder, and hit the 6-play 25x on prize picks. How about that?
That'll play. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so many sites out there. This isn't going away. No matter where you live, for the most part, you have at least a couple at your disposal in terms of books.
So the reason I mention this, I've been using it religiously every day. There's a mass entry tool. So like we could get done this show and I just go into the Odd Shopper Portfolio EV tool. I mass enter into DraftKings, into FanDuel. We have mass entry for Caesars coming on mobile, but it's on desktop. I get hundreds of bets down a day within minutes of my time. NHL up 7K, and we're 5 weeks into the season. It's just been an absolute print fest. It's insane. We're just getting the true odds on these bets, picking off the bad lines on all of these books and profiting. It's no longer about, let me spend 5 hours researching to get 3 good plays that have a big edge. And then when they lose, because there's so much volatility in sports betting, I hate myself and my life is over and I wasted all this time. It's making mass entry bets, volume betting with small edges, and just continuing to compound those profits into big wins. I'm telling you, it is the best way to bet right now. It won't be around forever. Eventually the books will adjust. And we got something exclusively for you guys if you wanted to check it out. Promo code exclusive when you use the link in the description or in chat gets you 30% off the entirety of the month. And you want a month because you want to get rid of all of that variance. Bet it for a month, as many bets as you can on as many books as you can every day, and watch the profits simply roll in. It is that simple. I'm never someone to guarantee profits because people still find ways to mess things up. But if you do this the right way and you build your portfolios out the right way, you're going to profit, Ben.
And you're seeing, if you guys know Greg and you follow him on Twitter, you can bet $1, $2 a bet, and you still can run it up. He started with $100 as a bankroll challenge. He's 23 days in, and he's almost 4x'd.
That is
$100.
insane.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. This is a different type of, again, if you're really interested, obviously, when you sign up, you get in Discord. We could talk about this for hours if you really want to know the philosophies behind it. But the short way to say this is like MMEing in DFS. Like when you build 150, are you really slaving away with each lineup and knowing who's in it? No, you're just taking a portfolio of plays. You're saying these are all going to be plus EV lineups, and I'm hoping one connects. That's what you're doing with betting. Obviously, it's different in the sense the bets themselves are not GPP upside, but the win rates obviously are totally
well. The difference is you don't actually have to be good at it. In DFS
we have the
to
tools.
In DFS to MME, like you still have to know some things.
Well, yes, this is like literally click the button, you press mass enter, you click the amount, and you bet the bets, and that's it. That's
you build your portfolios out. Join the Discord. We will help you and walk you through everything. Some really sharp people in there. It has been an absolute moneymaker. 30% off if you guys want to try it. Use the promo code exclusive at checkout and get 30% off the entirety of the month. You will love this. If you do it right, you're going to love it and you're going to make money. That vacation paid for. Like that's that type of situation. And that's just starting small. Anyway, let's talk about running backs here. So McCaffrey up top, Mixon, Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs. Do we want to go back to McCaffrey this week?
I mean, I'm certainly never going to be opposed to doing that. Obviously, he was a big disappointment, but only in the sense of he didn't score. He still had 5 targets and 19 carries. You can live with that. You certainly can, and I have some interest in that game. I think most people are going to go to Mixon, and I also get that, but Mixon's price continues to rise, rightfully so. Yeah, I'm fine paying up for McCaffrey, particularly if value emerges.
Would he be your top guy above 7K?
Yeah, I think he's still. Yeah, I'm gonna ride with McCaffrey. Yep. I was gonna say Achane, but no, I'll go McCaffrey.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Achane because it's McCaffrey and it's a 2-horse race kind of for me. Achane, and I mentioned this last week. Was he great? No, but he was good enough. He was in the winning Millie lineup. Like, that's all you need to know, right? He was still good enough. His workload's significant right now. And you're talking about a guy that, you look at the weeks since Tua returned. 18 looks, 20 looks, 17, and 21. But the snap counts continue to hover or stay around 65, 70%. He's so explosive everywhere. They do use him on goal line situations. Not all of them, but they will. Everything about this guy is just fantastic. He can break them off. It's a good matchup. They're touchdown favorites. This Patriots defense is not the Patriots defense of old. And I think HN, the only thing I don't love is that I wish his volume was a little bit higher. So I'm going to go HN, but I wanted to ask you one more guy up top. Well, two. Gibbs against the Colts, and then Mixon against Tennessee, only because Mixon's volume is so ridiculous right now.
I mean, Gibbs is just wild card at all times. He's amazing. You still, I know Detroit has been working out, but no one can score like them all the time. Maybe they keep it going, but let's be serious. They're not going to average 50 points a game here. I don't know what to do with Mixon. I tend to think he's on the outside looking in, not because of anything besides the fact that his price continues to rise. I don't think it's the dream matchup. The volume's outstanding. The TD equity is outstanding. Just a lot to pay. Simple as that.
All right, so McCaffrey and HN, at least for now, up top.
Yeah, with Gibbs is just, you want to roll Gibbs, you know what you're getting. But even last week, he scored. He had a 50-yard reception, and he got you 19.
Yeah, and guess what? Montgomery had 2 touchdowns.
It's just really difficult with the Lions. It's tough.
Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Aaron Jones, all three of these guys. I think that's where we live in the 6K range. I'm going to go for a little bounce back performance here. He has not been great lately. It's been a while. Aaron Jones in a run funnel matchup. It is hard to throw on this Bears defense. It is very hard to throw on this Bears defense. They have one of the top secondaries in the league, top 5 minimum. You could argue Connor against Seattle. You could argue Kenneth Walker against Arizona, and I wouldn't fight back at all. But I think that price point on Aaron Jones is pretty good value here. They still want to give him the workload. He hasn't been super efficient lately, but look at this, man. Carries 19, 21, 17, and 15 over the last 2 games. Not a ton of work in the passing game, but they've played ahead in a lot of those, haven't played from behind. I'm not saying they will here, but 20 plus touches is very live for Aaron Jones against the run funnel defense in the Bears. This is a spot that I am very happy to get to. I don't love the passing game for Minnesota, but knowing that they give up some big games on the ground, give me Aaron Jones for a little bounce back. And by the way, this is a guy who has always crushed the Chicago Bears for a little extra incentive.
I'm fine with Aaron Jones. No problem about that. Guys, I looked at Josh Jacobs. I mentioned the Packers. If you want to go a different direction, Josh Jacobs' workload is still really secure. And San Francisco, man, they've got serious problems, but I'm going to James Conner. James Conner's just had a phenomenal year. He's 6,500. Price is more than this price has not budged. I don't know if there's any other back like this. Just if you look at his price this year, it almost seems wrong in the sense that this is his price. 62, he started the year. 64, 66, 65, 65, 68, 66, 65, 66, 65. He never moves. He's in the same range every single week. And I'll play him again because he can do everything. He can't be phased out. Just a solid play once again.
Yeah, he is. Very solid play. Envious said give up on Jones, Laffy.
Never.
His run is done, he says. I don't think it is. It was only a few games ago that he had a really solid game against a good Detroit Lions defense. Against a good Houston defense, he had 100 plus rushing, 150 total yards. I think he can still get it done. I do. We're about to find out because that price looks pretty decent to me. Plus Cam Akers, they're giving him work. That guy stinks. That's not going to last. All right. I went first at the mid tier. Looking down here at the bottom tiers, there's someone that really stands out to me, and we talked about him already.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you want to take Brian Robinson, I totally get it. But if you think Washington does what they should do, I think it's going to be a ground attack. And if it's a ground attack, you have to think that he is in line for all that work, all that usage. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ramondre, though.
Okay, so Ramondre, Robinson. Who did you just say? Who was the other one?
I really just focused on those two.
Yeah. Give me Brian Robinson here. I like Ramondre too. Give me Brian Robinson, but we have to talk about Tony Pollard at 5,800 because Tajay Spears is in concussion protocol. And we saw the type of volume that Pollard gets when Spears is out. He's very simply underpriced at 5,800 in really any matchup if Tajay Spears doesn't play this week.
Yeah, balance always of volume versus efficiency. Volume outstanding, efficiency I think is going to be pretty terrible.
Probably, but very cheap price point, man.
Yeah.
Very, very cheap price point. And he's going to be utilized heavily, you would think. Either way, Brian Robinson is going to be chalk this week.
He should be.
He should. I like Stevenson. Amir Abdullah, if Zamir White and Alexander Madison are out, 4,300. Still impossible to do that.
I'm not doing that. That's just riddled with. There's a lot of ways that goes wrong.
It's masochism, is what it is.
It's just not.
Yeah,
not the answer.
I can torture myself without doing it intentionally. You know what I mean? We don't need to do that.
No.
All right, wide receivers. Up top, St. Brown, Nico Collins, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. Those are the four guys I'm keying in on right now above 7K, sorry. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, a lot of the same names. Certainly, you look at Nico and you're like, okay, he came back from injury, 4 for 54, not great. If you watch the game, he also caught an 80-yard touchdown on the first play of the game that would have changed the entire game, and I thought that should have stood. St. Brown, I mean, that was ridiculous. 11 targets, 11 grabs.
Yeah, that's what he does, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they never seem to miss. I'm gonna go Tyreek. You had Achan earlier. These are the weapons. The Tua stack's going to be in play again. No, he only had 8 targets, but 7 for 61 and a touchdown is getting closer. That price actually dropped a couple hundred, and I'm surprised at that. I think Tyreek is still having a couple of those monster games in him this year.
I could see it. I could absolutely see it. All right, here's a fun one. And Tyreek Hill, I'm with you 100%. Always viable. Tennessee's defense, I have some respect for, but I'm going Nico Collins here at 7,600. I still think with how good Nico is, and by the way, this is a tough team to run on, the Tennessee Titans. With how good Nico is, I mean, you've said it all year long. 7,600 might be a bargain in his second game back. Also, he had a 70-yard touchdown reception called back on the first drive. If he scores there, everything looks. I also would have won a shit ton of money if that happened. But Nico Collins, 76. There's no way you're not on board with me for this one.
No. And we're saying the same thing about if he scores on that first play of the game, the conversation around his return is so different.
Big time. Did you say all of that? Because I was looking over something.
Oh, I certainly did, but we reinforced it. No, it's
my fault. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. So now it's we don't need to say it again.
No, let's not repeat it a third time, but it's very true.
Yes, Nico Collins, if he scores, that's a crazy game from it. Then you're looking at what? Like 5 for 130 or something, yeah. 5 for 120 and a touchdown.
Yeah. And he
almost broke one on that 25-yard reception to the house.
Believe me, I hear you. I watched the game. I watched that full game, so I saw him.
Yeah, me too. Give me Nico. Wish I didn't watch that full game.
Yeah, me too.
But he's fine, by the way. He looks perfectly fine. Nico's the man. This is a great spot. I like him. I like Hill. Would you go to St. Brown here at 8,300?
I mean, again, you could always, but not. I feel the same way with St. Brown as I felt about him last week, which is always the answer. You can always play him, and he's probably going to have to run extremely hot to get there.
Nico was my highest owned captain, and I had the Nico touchdown. So that was just a horrible way to start the game.
Yeah,
off.
That hurts.
Right? That would have started things. I ended up being fine, but That would have been so much better. All right, one more for you, because I don't think we can ignore this. The only really real issue I have, Mike Evans, because my God, Mike Evans could dominate in this spot. I'm so worried about him re-injuring that hammy.
I don't like that spot. I mean, all of what you said is true. It's just very, very precarious because it's a hammy.
Yep.
That freaks me out.
And maybe they just run a lot to Rashad White and to Bucky Irving. But I'd have sprinkles of Mike Evans. It's too good of a spot, and Chris Godwin's out. Like Evans' 3-touchdown game wouldn't shock me in a spot like that.
Never.
Who do you like? Who do you like in the 6K range, mid-tier?
It's not the best range in the world. I think you're gonna have some pairings. If you obviously you're gonna look to McLaurin. If you like Daniels, I'll go DK Metcalf. I talked about Geno already. What's not to like? He's just him and JSN. They're doing their thing. They're appropriately priced. They're going to have volume with Geno. They're at home. You know, you always want to make sure the weather's fine, but if it is, it's DK Metcalf for me.
I love Metcalf here.
Yeah,
he was my guy too.
Just good.
I love Metcalf. There is one other guy though that even if Jaden Daniels doesn't get there, Terry McLaurin could very easily get there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like awful game. I'll go McLaurin here, Jordan, just because I like to mix things up. And if we're throwing these out there for the people, let's give them options. Coming off of a 1 reception, like 1 target game where Quinyon Mitchell just shut him down. He's so good. Coming off of a game like that, now going up against Dallas, this could just end up being a crazy, crazy good Terry McLaurin game. So I like it. I like it. But Metcalf looks great. What about JSN?
Again, probably a little closer correlated to Geno for me, but yes, JSN's also in play. He's not overpriced.
I mean, JSN now has how many games over his last 5 with double-digit targets?
I mean, the last 2 are 13 and 11. So he's got 24 targets in 2 games.
Yeah.
He's a legitimate weapon.
He has a 16 target game, a 12 target game, a 13, an 11, and a 9. When he gets peppered, my God, this guy just gets fully peppered with targets. He's had a few really, really huge spike weeks this year. So I think he belongs in the mix as well. Don't you kind of feel like Tyler Lockett's just the odd man out at this point?
Yeah, and that's not surprising to me. You have 2 players that honestly I think just are simply better at this point.
Agreed. Yeah. Low tier, sub 6K. I like Sutton against the Raiders a lot. Juwan Jennings might be the wide receiver 1 in San Francisco now. I'm not joking. Like he might be the wide receiver 1 in San Francisco now.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco is just really in flux right now, and Jennings has been awesome. Is that where you're
Hopkins, going? No, yeah, I'm sorry. DeAndre Hopkins is 5,400. And then you have like Devon Vele down there.
Oh,
I would go. Hold on a second. I would go back here, and you're not going to like this, but it's fine if you really wanted to get cheap. It's also possible you just go full out mid range this week and it works. I still think Kayshon Boutte is fine. He played another 96% of snaps. He saw another 6 targets. He hasn't been good, but his price hasn't come up. He's still $3,500. Tyquan Thornton was just not that this matters, but he was just traded to the Chiefs, or they picked him up off the practice squad. I don't know what the hell they did. Unimportant. Kendrick Bourne got back in the offense, but all I'm saying is this guy now 96+% of snaps in 3 straight games, 6+ targets in 4 straight games. It hasn't materialized into much, but at 3,500, you won't get those type of routes run and targets for anybody else.
Yeah, again, it's all about price point of how you're building. Like to me, just at first glance, I'm going to be really balanced. So I'm going to go Sutton. He's just sitting there. I know he's more kind of almost in the mid-range, but I think I can make him a cheapie because I think my entire lineup's going to be comprised of like 5, 6, and 7K players.
You might be right.
Like I just don't. You pay down at defense, you pay down at tight end, and then you just pick all of those type of players, and it'll work out just fine.
So my answer would have been Cortland Sutton as well.
Huh.
I love him, but I think you can go to a lot here. Like, I think you can go to Juwan Jennings if you wanted to and feel really good about that. I don't think you'd have any argument there, just with how involved he's been, even if Kittle's back. Um, 95% of snaps last week, 91% the week before. Like, Jennings has just been really good. But I think, given that I'm going Mahomes, it's only reason. No, because I'm going to go Kelsey in the next one. I know I am. So give me Juwan Jennings. Why not? I think it's a good spot for Jennings here.
No problem with that.
Yeah. Jauan, Jordan. Yeah, Jordan's usually good at not messing up any of the spelling with these. I always pay attention to that. Anybody else in the low tier that you want to talk about?
Not really, just because honestly, I'll let value open up organically.
All right. And by the way, guys, we've seen a ton of you take advantage of the best promo we've ever done to get involved with the Stokastic tools, whether it's the Sims, whether it's the single lineup simulator. We had such an awesome tweet yesterday that I wanted to mention it, Ben, because this is why we built this tool. And this is from Felix Castro. Felix Castro, by the way, was a Millie Maker winner on Best Ball on DraftKings. Took down the Millie last year. So the guy knows what he's doing. He's very sharp. Tweeted us last night, said, single lineup simulator telling me I made a great lineup is almost as good as winning a tourney. Having that feedback, that instant feedback when it sims out and you see like, wow, I'm understanding the process. I'm doing this right. Knowing that going into a slate, whether the line, because football, there's such a small sample. Knowing that you're building good lineups and building them yourself is a pretty awesome thing to have to take advantage of kind of in your tool belt going into every week.
It's huge. It is a game within a game. It's a challenge. You kind of see like how high can I get that ROI, and then you can review it in the post contest sim. That at least that's what I've been doing. I work hard at the lineups, then I review and say how did it end up. But yeah, just an awesome. Everything about it is just really good stuff, and I know a ton of you are using it, and I hope that you share that sentiment because it really has been a fun challenge and a different way to play.
Yeah, man. Hey, Felix is in chat. What's up,
Look at
Felix?
that.
I still remember, Felix, because if I recall correctly, I think you and I were DMing back and forth about a lineup that you had that was live to win it, like weeks out from the playoffs, and it ended up winning it. I'm pretty sure that happened. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So the link in the description, the first one and the one in chat that Jordan threw in there, you can get all of this for free. It's $100 value. The core package, the sims, the single lineup sim, the ownership projections, top stack tool, boom bust tool, premium Discord, jump in the Discord. Make sure to do that. Every tool that we have to build better lineups and win more money, all you got to do is scroll down on that page, click claim offer on any of these offers that you want, okay? And every single one of them that you do is another month. So you're like, oh man, I want 2 months of football and 2 months of basketball. That'd be awesome. I get the sims for both and all the tools for both. So you're like, I'll go Bet365, I'll go Caesars, I'll do Underdog, and I'll do FanDuel. That's 4 months right there. And the greatest part, if you sign up at BetMGM, you're getting 200 in bonus bets on a $10 deposit. Sign up on Bet365, $10 deposit, $5 bet, you're getting 150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, if you're not on FanDuel Sportsbook, $200 in bonus bets. And you're getting every month for every single one. So it's that simple. And if you're in non-legal betting states too, guys, you have Underdog, you have Sleeper, you have Rebet, you have Better, you have all of them. So you don't have to be in legal betting states to take advantage. Just choose the ones you want. You got to click claim offer or else it doesn't work. We can't track it. Sign up, takes a minute to instantly verify yourself, deposit, and place a bet. After that bet settles, send us a screenshot of your first settled bet and of your welcome email. Send it to support@stokastic.com and just let us know what sport you want, depending on how many books you've signed up on, and you are in. You can lock in months of this. So check it out. Link in the description and the pinned comment. No better way to get access to all of our tools. I don't know how long we keep doing this for, but for as long as it's here, if you've been on the fence, best way to get in, man. Best way to get in. Plus, you're getting all of those bonus bets. Must be 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Tight ends. I got to go Kelsey on principle, Ben. I got to go. Bowers has a very difficult matchup. He's amazing, but it's a tough matchup. I love Trey McBride, and I'd be willing to get to some of him too. I think you see a nice game from Travis Kelce here against Carolina. $5,800 is too good of a price point.
Really good price point. I'm going to go McBride just because I like Kyler and I think he's a very natural addition to that talented player. Don't think ownership's going to be crazy. I think actually Bowers will probably be the leverage because it's really a tough matchup. He's the most expensive and he's a stud. He is just unbelievable. I love that guy. One of my favorite players in the league. But give me McBride.
All right. Yeah, Kelce and McBride. The pay up at tight end's nice because you're not overpaying for these guys, but you're still getting great options.
Mm-hmm.
Excited to see what the Sims look like. Do we get more double tight end lineups this week? Like maybe Kelce McBride lineups?
We might.
Mid-range. Hawkinson looks okay. I don't love him. Jonnu's coming off a great 100-yard, 2-touchdown game. Hunter Henry still looks okay, though.
That's who I'm picking. I mean, I mentioned Drake May. Hunter Henry just happened to kill everybody as chalk, and then he bounced right back with 9 targets last week against the Rams. That's going to work at flat 4.
Would he be your guy here?
He would. He would. I mean, again, you could go to Jonnu if you want to attach to Tua. I guess you could go to Tucker Kraft if you want to get crazy because it's Green Bay and it fluctuates. But to me, Hunter Henry just makes a lot of sense given this offense.
Yeah, he does. I'll go Jonnu. They're using him now. Like Jonnu's legitimate, not featured, obviously, in the offense. He's the number 3 behind Achane and Hill. It's not Waddle. Right now.
Waddle is just it's not happening for Waddle right now.
It's not. You look at the target share even before Tua Tagovailoa got back. Look at his target counts for Johnny Smith. Just very basic analysis here. 8, 7, 6, 6, 4, and 8. Pretty good for a $4,100 tight end and a pretty good offense with a nice implied total as big favorites this week. So give me Jonnu. And as the low tier, I really only have one. I think it's got to be a $3,800 Zach Ertz for me, but that is by default. I don't. Maybe your guy would be Kraft if you're going sub 4K. Maybe Dalton Schultz. There's not much down here. Who?
I think you, again, I'm talking a 1%er here. I think you could play Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet has shown at times he can explode, but there are so many ways that goes wrong. I'm not looking to do that. I'll just say that much. I don't think you need to do any of that type of stuff, but that's kind of someone I'd look to.
What about a $2,900 Theo Johnson who's playing like every snap every week?
I mean,
I know the quarterback situation's terrible, but he's really cheap is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're doing that just because you're in love with your lineup more than in love with at least I don't see it where it's like, oh, I have to play this guy.
So like you have 2,900 remaining. You've already punted defense and love everything else. Theo Johnson looks okay.
You're just like, you know what? If this guy gives me anything, the rest of my lineup, the permutation is worth it. And if he falls in the end zone, I could win.
Right. Even 3 for 40 could get you there.
Yeah. I'm going to try to avoid that.
Didn't you say the Millie lineup, maybe the 555 had Barner?
Yep. It did. Yep.
Right. And he had, I think, 2 for 17 or something.
Yeah. Now that, again, keep that in mind. That's a much smaller tournament, but it just shows you can do serious damage even if not every player crushes if it's a cheapie.
I also hate relating all of our analysis to the big tournaments because those aren't even the ones that I frequent as much. Like I love the single entry stuff for NFL.
Yeah. And you're just talking about literally the winning lineup. Like you can have a huge day by just having quality lineups, and quality lineups can be riddled with you could take a 0. Not that you want to, but you could.
All right, let's close it out. Favorite defense under 3K. And as always, guys, if you don't mind, take a second, hit that thumbs up. It does really go a long way for us. It feeds this out to other people and helps us a ton. We're at 76 right now, 360 people watching. There may be a few of you who have forgotten. Give you the benefit of the doubt to atone for your sins. And now is the time to do so. Thank you. All right. It's the Bears for me, honestly.
I thought you were going to say that. I'd say that too. It would be Green Bay.
Ooh, okay.
San Francisco's a mess. I mean, they got their weapons, but San Francisco's also an absolute mess right now.
I know we have to go, but just tell me this to wrap up the show. And just one more reminder, guys, you want to join Portfolio EV, join the Odd Shopper Discord. Absolutely just start smashing volume betting, grinding those edges and making a big profit that just rolls into more and more over time, like Greg has done, like I have done, like Ben has done. Links in the description. Promo code exclusive is 30% off your first month. Massive discount over there. And if you use the tools properly, ask us questions, join the Discord, build your portfolios out and use the mass entry tool, you are going to pay for that very, very quickly and then likely hang around because it's basically a second income at this point. What is wrong with the 49ers? That's how I want to end this. What do you think if you had to put your finger out? What is wrong with this team?
I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is that when you have, and I could be completely wrong here. When you do stuff, it reminds me a little of Miami, like that's like really scheme heavy. They get paid. I've heard a lot of people say this over the years. You know, the other side, the other teams, the other coaches, they get paid too, you know, like to figure this shit out. And I think that ultimately some of what the Niners do is really gadgety and scheme heavy, and these other teams have figured it out. And then you add in injuries, and that's my best guess. Like Purdy and all this stuff are the other teams figured out a lot of what they're doing. It's not nearly as effective.
That might be the simplest yet. It might be like the Occam's razor situation, right?
It reminds me of Miami. It's like, oh,
yep.
You know, what are they doing? And it's like, well, the other teams get paid millions of dollars to figure it out.
Maybe like Jaden Daniels falls into that as well.
Yeah, all these guys
eventually start to figure things out. Absolutely. They figured Jalen Hurts out, and then the Eagles figured out other ways to make him effective again.
That's a
constant moving target.
100%. But the teams that don't innovate are the teams that, when you look at the NFL, I know we have to go. Almost everybody has a stretch where you're like, wow, this is amazing. This team is amazing. This player is amazing. And then they also have a stretch where you're like, this guy, this team. And it's because unless you're superseding when you're one of the best or one of the worst, it's all very fluid. Like, that's just how it is. You get figured out.
Yep. And when they do, you got to adjust. Anyway, thank you guys. You're the greatest. Appreciate you hanging out as always. I have a Thanksgiving luncheon for my 2 daughters today. So I'm going to run over to that. I'm already late. And well, Ben's got a lot of stuff on his plate as well. College football video coming out.
Betting You was just filmed. I'm going to upload that. I'm going to be hanging in Discord betting African soccer all afternoon. I mean, come on now, friends. Get on in there. And really, the last thing I want to say, we talked about it. You're all DFS players. You're all in it for edges. The goal of DFS is always to find the edge. One of the biggest edges in the industry right now is Portfolio EV on the betting side. I'm telling you, click that link and at the very least, just read about it. If you want to use the code exclusive and get in, I know you're going to be happy you did, but if nothing else, you need to know about what's out there because these edges won't be there forever. And like crypto, like DFS, like everything, being early.
Get in while the getting's good.
You have to get in early. You can't wait and then say, oh man, I wish I would have done that because then the edge will be gone. And I'm just telling you right now, the edge is there if you want it.
Yeah, man. I'm proof. We're all proof.
I'm proof. Everyone at this company is proof. We are using this just like our Sims tools. I would not go on here and say, you need to do this. This is a game changer if I didn't believe it myself. I'm just not that type of person. Portfolio EV is changing the way I'm betting every day. And I really feel confident it's worth your time.
I got in 20 bets before I got out of bed. It was 5:45 in the morning.
You don't have to do anything. You press a button.
I know.
You don't even know what you bet.
I know. Oh yeah. A lot of times I don't. I just try to make sure I don't dupe things. That's all.
Yeah, but we have, hide the bets. It's all there.
Yep, everything's there. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here for the next one. Peace.